Silence. Good morning, students. In the last class, we discussed about the integrated rate expression for the additions of zero order. Also, we discussed how to obtain the half-life period of a zero order relation. During the last class, we also discussed how to obtain the expression for the rate constant of a relation of nth order, where n is not equal 1. So, if n equals 0 or 2 or 3 or 4, any numbers, how can you express the rate constant? Accordingly, how can you express the time period t? And also, we discussed how to obtain the half-life period of a relation of nth order. In the last class, the formulas which we have obtained is what the k of n is equal to 1 by n minus 1 into t, okay, into 1 by a minus x power n minus 1 by a power n minus 1. Where a is the initial concentration, a minus x is the final concentration after time t. Also, we obtain t equal to 1 by n minus 1 into k into 1 by a minus x power n minus 1 by a power n minus 1. We obtain the half-life period t half is equal to 1 by n minus 1 into k into 2 power n minus 1 by a power n minus 1. And accordingly, we have seen that t half equals to 1 by a power n minus 1. Also, we obtain an expression that value t half 1 by t half 2 is equal to a0 2 by a0 1 power n minus 1. But n is the order of the relations. So, if half-life period of a relation to two different constants are given, if t half 1 at a01 and t half 2 at a02, then how to obtain the order of the relation n, that also we discussed in the last class. Okay, and based on this formula, so we solved some numericals. Now today we discuss the theories of reaction rates. What? The theories of reaction rates. So, a particular chemical reaction, whether first order or second order or zero order, whether the reaction is proceeding in one step or two steps or more than two steps, that are practical. Practically, by doing the experiments, we can say that a particular chemical reaction is proceeding in how many, is completing in how many steps, in one step or two steps or three steps. And also, what is the order of the reaction? How many molecules are actually undergo change in concentration during the course of the reaction? So that also we can obtain experimentally. Now, how the reactions are occurring actually, how the reactants are converting into product, that we can explain with the help of different theories. Called what? We have one what? The collision theory, and other we what? Activated complex theory. So first of all, we will discuss about the collision theory. What is this collision theory? See, whenever a chemical reaction is going on, we are taking the reactants, and when we allow the reactants to react, the reacting molecules are colliding with each other. the reacting molecules are always in a random motion. In the reaction conditions, when the reaction conditions are applied, the reacting molecules, because all are always in a random motion, the reacting molecules are colliding with each other. And the chemical reaction is as a result of the collision among the molecules. When the molecules collide, the bonds are breaking. Okay. Then after, the new bonds are forming, and we are getting the products. So a chemical reaction results due to the collision among the molecules. But whatever number of molecules we have taken, whatever number of collisions are occurring, all the collisions are not leading toward the formation of the product. Though molecules collide, but the bonds are not breaking. All collisions are not effective. Only those collisions are effective when the colliding molecules are having a certain minimum amount of energy known as the threshold energy. So if a reacting molecule is having a certain minimum energy called the threshold energy, and when such kind of molecule will collide, then there may be an effective collision. And another thing is there, when the molecules will collide, the colliding molecules must be properly oriented. The addition of collisions must be effective. So when the colliding molecules are having the certain minimum energy or more than that, called the threshold energy. Okay, so if the colliding molecules are having the certain minimum energy called the threshold energy, and the molecules are properly oriented, then after, if the molecules are colliding, the collisions will become effective, and that will lead towards the formation of the products. So two things are required for an effective collision. One is what? The energy factor. Another what? The orientation factor. One is called your energy barrier, other called your orientation barrier. So in order to give an effective collision, the colliding molecules must have to pass through these two barriers, energy barrier and the orientation barrier. Then only the collision will be effective. Sometimes the molecules is having the minimum energy but not properly oriented. In that case also the collision will not be effective. Sometimes the molecule properly oriented but is not having the minimum amount of energy required, then also the collision will not be effective. If the colliding molecules are having the threshold energy and are properly oriented, then only the collision will be effective. Now see, suppose I will take energy here, energy coordinate, okay, and what will be progress of reaction. And here, suppose I will take the reactant. R. And this is called what? Energy of reactor. Now, these reacting molecules are having this much of energy, called the energy of reactant or the potential energy. And at such amount of energy, the reacting molecules are not able to react to give the product. So these molecules must have to possess a minimum energy, suppose this level. Now when the molecules will reach at this level of energy called the minimum energy, then after the reaction will occur and finally the product will come and we will get here the product P. This is called what? EP. And this energy level is called what? ETH. So we see this whole energy is called what? ETH. Okay, called the threshold energy. And any molecule, reacting molecules must have to possess this much amount of energy in order to give an effective collision, in addition to the proper orientation. Then only the reactant will convert into product and the reaction will complete. Okay, and this is about how you the collision theory of reaction rates. Okay, so if you summarize collision theory, the reacting molecules are always in a random motion. The molecules are colliding with each other. Okay, all the collisions are not effective. Okay, only those collisions where the colliding molecules have, number one, minimum energy called threshold energy. Okay, and proper orientation. Only those colliding molecules where the colliding molecules are having minimum energy called threshold energy and properly orientation, that will give effect to collision. And this minimum energy called what? The threshold energy. Okay. So this is how collision theory of reaction rate. Okay. Now see, here we have seen the reacting molecules are having this much amount of energy. Okay, and at this position the reacting molecules is not able to react. When this will reach at this level, then only the collision will be effective and the reaction will complete. Now, how it will be possible? Because the reacting molecules are at this level and they have to reach at this one, so I have to supply this much amount of energy extra. Already we have ER, and when we have ETH2, then the collision will be effective. And for this purpose, what we will do? We will apply this much amount of energy. This much amount of extra energy we have to supply. And this is called what? Total ETH minus ER. So threshold energy minus the energy of reactor called what? EA, activation energy. So activation energy is the extra amount of energy or excess energy which must be supplied to the reacting molecules so that they will acquire the state of threshold energy and will give an effective collision. Here you see this ETH minus ER is equal to EA, called what? Activation energy. Okay. Now, so normally the reacting molecules are either normal energy state, and at that energy state the molecules are not able to react, not able to give the effective collision. Hence, extra energy must be supplied to the reacting molecules so that the reacting molecule will reach at threshold state, and the extra amount of energy which will supply to the reacting molecule is called what? Activation energy. Let us see. Suppose I will take let's see, this is a graph. I will take energy, okay, your progress of reaction, okay. Suppose ER here, okay, and your P here, PR. This is what the energy of reactant. This is what energy of product. So here you see, this is your ER. This is what this one is your EP. Okay, and this EP minus ER is what? Delta H equal what? EP minus ER. EP is small here, ER large, negative. So delta H equal what? EP minus ER is equal what? Negative. That means what? This is what? This is your exothermic reaction. Called what? Exothermic reaction. Okay. So here you see, this is what? This is what? ETH, and this much what? ETH minus ER equal what? EA. Okay. Now, if I take this one like here, exothermic reaction. Now, if I take energy progress of reaction. Okay, ER here, so P here, this is what your EP, this is what your ER. Okay, EP minus ER, EP minus ER equal what? Delta H equal EP this much minus ER this much equal what? Positive. That is what your endothermic is. This is what your endothermic reaction. Endothermic reaction. Okay. Now you will see this is the same thing. ETH and this is what your ETH minus ER. This is what ETH minus ER equal what? EA. Okay. So this is what for exothermic reaction. EA is equal to ETH minus ER, and here endothermic reaction what ETH minus ER is equal to EA. Okay. Now you see, if I will take a reversible reaction, suppose I will take a reversible reaction. Okay, energy, progress of reaction, progress of reaction, reactant, product. Okay, this is what your delta H equal what? It means ER. Okay. Now see, when I am taking the forward reaction for R to P, this is the ETH and this is your ER, and this is called what? Your EAF equal what? ETH minus ER. ETH minus ER is what? EAF. Now when I will go for the backward reaction, this is the reactant. See here, EP, and this is the ETH, and this will be what? This will be what? EAB equal to ETH minus what? EP. Because when I go for backward reaction, this will be the reactant here. This one will be your ER, and this will be your ETH. So this ETH minus EP will be what? Your EAB. Okay. Now see, if I write EAF minus EAB is equal to EAF equal what? ETH minus ER minus EAB equal what? ETH minus EP. Now this is equal to ETH minus ER minus ETH plus EP. So what do? EP minus ER is equal to delta H. Okay. So EAF minus EAB is equal to what? EP minus PR equal to delta H. This is what the activation energy for the reversible reactions. Okay. Then your activated complex theory. Okay. So what is activated complex theory? Already we discussed about the activation energy. So when we are taking the reactant molecules, so suppose we have taken here value, suppose A2 plus B2, okay, and we know already the energy of reactants. The reactants are at the normal kinetic energy state. So in that energy state, they are not able to give the effective collision. Okay. So we are supplying the extra amount of energy to the reacting molecules. Now when we supply the energy to the reacting molecules, so what happens? So the energy of the reactant molecules are increasing, and they are reaching at a particular stage at the top. This is called the energy period. Now when they reach at this stage, the reacting molecules are having the highest energy. At that moment, the old bonds are starts to break and new bonds are start to make. And that is called what? That means a complex is formed. That is called what? Activated complex. So here what happens? So you see now A, B, this I can write it like this. So A, B, B. This A bond is breaking, B bond is breaking. At the same time, AB bond is making and A bond is making. This is called what? The activated complex. And this complex is having at the highest energy state. Okay, at this stage, this activated complex is having only a transient existence. Once the molecules reach at this level, then after they start to release energy and come to the next stage, stable state. So this is what 2AB. This is called what? EP. This is what? E. So already we discussed this energy is what? The whole is what? ETH. And this energy is what? EA. So when the reactant molecules are supplied the extra amount of energy, they reach at the threshold energy state, that the highest energy state. At the highest energy states, the reacting molecules are having high energy and they are forming a complex called what? Activated complex. Here the old bonds are starts to break, new bonds starts to make. So this complex is having a transient existence. It will disappear again immediately and give the stable product. So this is called what? Activated complex. Okay. And now activated complex theory. Clear? Now your dependence of reaction rate on temperature. Okay, the Arrhenius equation. Arrhenius equation. So now dependence of the rate constant on temperature is given by equation called the Arrhenius equation, and which is given by what? K equal to A e power minus EA by RT. K equal to a e power minus ea by rt, where k is the rate constant, a is the frequency factor or RMS parameter, ea is the activation energy, r is the universal gas constant, and T is the absolute temperature. Okay, so if it is asked write RMS equation, then K equal to A e power minus E by RT, where K is what? Rate constant, A is what? Frequency factor or RMS parameter, E is what? Activation energy, R is the universal gas constant, and T is the absolute temperature. Okay, now taking logarithm, taking logs, what? Log k equal to log a e power minus ea by rt. Okay, now log k equal to log a plus log e power minus ea by rt, or equal to log a plus log a minus ea by rt log e. Okay, also log k is equal to log a minus ea by rt. Log e equal to what? Log e equal to what? 1. Okay, so log k equal to log a minus ea by rt. Now, or I can write 2.33 log k equal to 2.33 log a minus e by rt. Okay, or I can write log k equal to log k is equal to log a minus e by rt. Okay, so log k equal to log a minus e by 2.23 rt divided with the 2.23. This is called Arrhenius equation in logarithmic form. Now, if I have two different temperatures with two different rate constant, I can write value log k1 is equal to log a minus e by 2.23 rt1. Okay, log k2 is equal to log a minus e by 2.23 rt2. Okay, now log k2 minus log k1 is equal to log a minus ea by 2.23 rt2 minus log a plus ea by 2.23 rt1 cancel. Okay, so log k2 by k1 is equal to ea by 2.23 rt1 minus ea by 2.23 rt2. Okay, now log k2 by k1 is equal to ea by 2.23 r into 1 by t1 minus 1 by t2. Okay, or log k2 by k1 is equal to ea by 2.03 r into t2 minus t1 by t1. So this is about the Arrhenius equation in logarithmic form. So, and if the rate constant and two different terms are given, then we can calculate the log K2 by K1 equal to E by 2 by 3 R into T2 minus T1 by T1 T2. Now here what you see, log K is equal to log A minus E by 2.23 RT. So from this we can calculate the value of activation energy. Let's see here. Log K equal to log A minus EA by 2.03 RT, or I can write log K equal to minus EA by 2.03 R into 1 by T plus log A. So here you see this equation is in the form of what? Y equal to mx plus c. So if I plot a graph between what log K versus 1 by T, I will get a straight line with a slope of minus E by 2.3 R with intercept value log A. So now if we plot a graph, okay, log K here, okay, and here you are 1 by T, you get what? Is what? The log A, okay, and here the slope equal what? Minus EA by 2.23 R, okay. So from this graph we can calculate the slope equal to minus EA by 2.23 R. Okay. So this is about the R in this equation, that is the dependence of rate constant on the temperature. Okay. Now let us have some numericals basing on this one. Okay. See, suppose the rate constant of a reaction becomes double, okay, when the temperature is changed from 300 to 310 Kelvin. Okay, find out the activation energy. Okay, so we have to find out the activation energy given that the rate constant at two different concentrations. Okay, so what to do here? See, the temperature T1 is what? 300, T2 is what? 310. Okay, and it is saying that the rate constant becomes double. So what I will write? K2 equal to 2K1. K2 equal to 2K1. Therefore, and T1 equal to 300 Kelvin, T2 equal to 310 Kelvin. Okay. Now we know R equal to 8.314 Joule per Kelvin per mole. Now log K2 by K1 equal to EA by 2.23 R into T2 minus T1 by T1 T2. Okay, so log K2 is what? 2K1 by K1 is equal to EA by 2.23 R, and R value can put here 8.314, okay, joule per Kelvin per mole. 310 minus 300 by 310 into 300. Okay, so here we get log 2. Log 2 equal what? 0.3010 is equal to EA by 2.23 into 8.314 into this one euro, this into euro 10 by euro 93000. Okay, 000. You can cancel out. Okay, so what will we get? This implies EA is equal to 0.3010 into 2.03 into 8.314 into 93 is equal to what? You get 53.9 joule per kilojoule per mole. So EA equal to what? 53.9 kilojoule per mole. Okay. This is how can we determine the activation energy of a particular reaction. So when the temperatures are given. Okay. Now another one. Question number 2. You can write down the activation energy for a forward reaction. The activation energy for the forward reaction is your 27 kilocalorie for the reaction SUSY if delta H is minus 80 kilocalorie. Find out the EAB. Okay, so here you see the activation for the forward reaction is given. Okay, that is for the EAF is equal to 27 kilocalorie. Okay, and delta is given what? Minus 80 kilocalorie. Now what is asked? The EAB, and we know we have delta H is equal to EAF minus EAB. Okay, so this implies EAB is equal to EAFO minus delta HO is equal to, how was EAFO? 27 minus of what? 80. What? 27 plus 80. What? 107 kilocalorie. So delta H equal what? Sorry, EAB equal what? 107 kilocalorie. Okay. So this is about your chemical kinetics. Okay, and also